I'd like to preface this video by saying that even though I'll be going over all of the skills in Ranger's tree, all suggestions mentioned will pertain to using Ranger as a main class, although you would usually end up taking most of the same skills when using it as a sub anyways. I will also be mentioning the priority of which to take these skills at the end. So, getting right to it, like all classes, a bunch up top you unlock for free through leveling up to 40, and a few on the right side come standard. These two up here don't actually currently exist in the NA version, but grab them when the level cap raises. Their names are subject to change, but to get an idea what to expect in the future, EX Trap increases the damage and size of your trap explosions, and High Level Ranger Bonus simply gives an extra 5% damage boost. Similar to most trees, it's not worth taking any of these straight stat up skills as they take lots of skill points and end up giving back very little in return, compared to the big percentage damage boosts further down in the tree. Even with future updates, you just won't have enough skill points to really be using any of these. You will, however, need 3 points into Dexterity up at the top left to unlock everything below it. It is not suggested to further invest in it after that though. Sharpshooter is usually maxed as it gives a nice 10% damage boost when attacking from far away and only takes 5 points. Advanced Dive Roll grants iframes for a fraction of a second when dodge rolling. It's really not worth your points for so little in return. Dive Roll Shot is worth a point since it allows you to attack when dodging. Keep Roll Shot allows you to hold onto any special rounds you might have loaded into your rifle through a skill when you attack with a dive roll shot instead of spending them. This will make more sense in a minute or two. Then we have our traps, which play a big role in how Rangers regen PP. But before we get to the traps themselves, there's a few skills we need to make them even better. Tool Mastery increases the damage of these traps, but generally isn't worth any more than 1 point to unlock Tactical Trap below it, as you really won't be relying on traps for damage. With Tactical Trap at max, your traps will now give back 20% of your entire PP pool per enemy hit when using a trap. This does need to be maxed to get the full 20% though, and should be. Stun Grenade will lob out a grenade that will stun stunnable enemies. And Gravity Bomb pulls in everything just like Zondil or Bow's Gravity Vortex. And for the actual traps, both the Spring Trap and the Poison Trap work similarly, as in they are both skills you must place on the ground and can then be detonated by using the same skill again on your bar, or wait 20 seconds for it to automatically explode by itself. Spring Trap is nice against bosses since you can place it down, then trigger it whenever you need PP, and then Poison Trap will only help to supply more PP on top of that too. The custom version of each just aren't worth taking as you shouldn't be relying on traps for your damage, and your points could be used better elsewhere. Moving on, First Hit simply grants you 20% damage for the first shot you land on a new enemy. It's pretty situational and again not worth your points for right now. Eradication Bonus can be quite helpful as it allows you to recover a bit of PP whenever an enemy dies near you, but you have to be almost close enough to touch it for this effect to even work. I hate to be a broken record, but keep in mind with your limited points, you can get more out of these elsewhere for now. Advanced Precision Hit 1 and 2 together give 30% extra damage to weak spots when using a ranged weapon. These are absolutely necessary and will be a big part of your damage, as you should always be trying to aim for weak spots in general, but because of another skill we will be mentioning in just a minute. There's also a cool ring for launchers that will allow you to make use of this skill, even when not hitting weak spots too. Precision Hit Blast Bonus increases how fast your Photon Blast gauge recharges when you attack an enemy's weak spot. It's not a bad skill per se, but for right now, with the limited points on NA, it's not something that should be on your radar. Stationary Fire 1 and 2 together give 40% extra damage after standing still for a whole second. This, however, will not apply to a PA if you start charging it while moving, then stop for a second to release it. Then Mobile Fire is the exact opposite as it grants a 25% damage bonus when moving. So no matter what you're doing, you will always have some form of boost going, but keep in mind that Stationary Fire gives a much bigger boost. This whole row right here are known as special rounds, which essentially load your weapon with whatever special round you choose, and can then shoot these out with normal attacks. Normally, when switching weapons, you will lose any of these special rounds you may have loaded. However, with ammo maintenance down here, you can keep them, so be sure to take this. Out of all 5 of these, the only one you will really be wanting to take will be Blight rounds, which loads your rifle with at max 6 shots that act like projectiles, and when they land on an enemy, you will see a red circular crosshair. When attacking this spot, everyone will do 20% more damage, and this also triggers your Advanced Precision Hit that I just alluded to a moment ago. Each plate round shot will last about 18 seconds, so even if you miss a shot here and there, you can still have this up and running most of the time. Do note, however, that only one of these can be present per enemy at any given time, and that not everyone is ranged, so try to put it in a spot that's easily reachable for everyone if possible. Blind Bullet loads blinding rounds into your rifle and are pretty straightforward, but these aren't usually taken ever because they don't really affect bosses, and everything that is affected by them does die too fast to make this worthwhile. Blinding Shot is essentially the same thing, but is for launcher. Panic Shot is another launcher-only skill that loads panic rounds into your launcher that will cause panic, and Gel and Shot loads rounds into your launcher that lowers enemies' damage. These last three can be somewhat okay with the use of PP Preservation Bullet, as that reduces PP consumption whenever you have special rounds loaded into your weapon, but even then it's not too worth it as you lose out on your blight rounds when doing so. Speaking of PP Preservation Bullet, you will need at least 3 points into Power Shot to unlock it. Ideally, you'd want to max both of these, but because of limited skill points, you probably won't completely max them out until the next level cap increase. Last but not least is Massive Bullet, which stops you from being knocked up or back when you have any type of special rounds loaded. This is extremely helpful and absolutely worth 1 point. Now, as far as the order of which to take these skills, there is an optimal way to make use of your points to get the most out of them while leveling. So, getting right to it, it is usually suggested to first grab your dive roll shot, as it will allow you to shoot while moving and also regain a bit of PP. You then want to grab just about all of Advanced Precision Hit 1, and then go right into all of Mobile Fire, as these two will start you off with a bunch of extra damage for very little conditional effort. You then want to go to Stationary Fire 1 and only level it up to 5 for 2 reasons. The first would be because after level 5, its scaling goes down, and you can unlock Stationary Fire 2 with 5 points as well. And Stationary Fire 2 gets a whole 5% damage at level 1. So you're essentially getting 20% damage for only 6 points. We'll come back to these shortly though. You can then take your grenades and traps if you want, but if you do, make sure to take and max out Tactical Trap with them. After that, get Blight rounds up to about level 6, because at level 6 you get up to 4 special rounds to load per cooldown. Once you do put into Blight rounds though, make sure to grab Ammo Maintenance and Keep Roll Shot too, as they will both allow you to hold on to these when swapping weapons and normal attacking while dodge rolling. After that, just go back and finish up with Advanced Precision Hit 2, Stationary Fire 2, then 1, then your Blight rounds and whatever else is left. You really don't have to do it this way whatsoever. So long as you get everything in the end, that's all that matters. But doing it this way might help you out early on. And that's about it for Ranger Skill Tree. As usual, I left some sample level 75 skill trees down in the description. And they use the same skill builder website you see in these videos. If you are unfamiliar with it, the links to the builds I give out have both a main and a sub tree. Just check the top and click on the appropriate tab to see the subs tree. And with that, take care.